if you're looking at an alloy and you want to become an entrepreneur, we're going to give you bandwidth and teach you not just how to be an alloy franchisee, but how to be a good entrepreneur. And I think those things are one and the same and different in some ways. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So like we're going to teach you everything you know to run an alloy, but there's also a mindset and an accountability tool that we're going to teach you that'll really help you just be a better entrepreneur overall. Hello, Matt.
Rick, happy holidays, man. This is 4 days before Christmas.
I know. Merry Christmas to everyone listening. You will hear this well after Christmas, I believe, a couple weeks after, but hope everyone's having a great holiday season. I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
Absolutely, man. I got 3 little girls. There's nothing better.
Did you buy them all a brand new racehorse?
Santa gets all our gifts, so I don't know. Can't confirm or deny.
Good point. Come on, Santa. Pull through for the ladies.
Do you obviously our ads and everything go out amongst all different platforms. My kids see our stuff.
Our ads?
Yeah.
Oh, they see this.
I mean, they'll see stuff for our podcast, everything on when they're surfing on their iPads.
So to your point, what is Santa bringing the girls? You don't know.
I don't know.
Huh.
Because they could be listening.
Well, I heard rumor that he's going to stop by your neighborhood first this year. Did you hear that?
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah.
That done early.
I just heard that through the grapevine.
Anything before 9 o'clock.
We've got some fitness clubs we work with that are in the North Pole area, and they mentioned they're stopping by your kid's house first.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So tell the girls, be ready. Get up early.
Have you got all your shopping done?
Yes. Yeah, Santa. Well, no. For me, I do my own. Like, I don't have the young kids, so Santa doesn't come around as much as he used to. But yes, all of my shopping is finished. Thank you. I did good this year. I had a good time with it. I actually purchased gifts. Usually I'm just like, what did we get everyone to my wife? But I actually purchased some things myself this year.
Look at you, man.
First year. See, it's never too late to change. I'm 53. I'm just now changing. Evolving.
Always
maybe a good
changing.
word. Always changing. That's the new core value. We'll change it to that. So speaking of wives, I was talking to Andrew the other day, and she was complaining that I never buy her flowers. Dude, I didn't even know she sold flowers.
How long have you been sitting on that one?
5 minutes.
Atta boy. I'm going to go with the Christmas theme here.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Do snow globes ever get scared?
I don't know.
No. Just shaking.
He was shook. I love it. Hey, what do you think about next year? I was just thinking about this, and we haven't even talked about it. How about instead of dad jokes, since we've done 12 months of dad jokes, we do like strange facts, like just random things that probably people wouldn't know.
You are full of those. Do you have one on deck right now?
I'm not starting now. The next podcast we'll do it.
Okay. All right.
Because that'll be our new year for the most part.
Got it.
Strange facts.
Got it.
All
okay.
right. Cool. All right. There it is, everyone.
Deal.
Next year, for 12 straight months, at the start of every podcast that Matt and I do together, you're going to hear a strange fact about something that you maybe didn't know.
Great.
Awesome.
That's why they're going to show up.
Awesome. Well, listen, last week's podcast was interesting because I actually forgot to plug in the interface that allows the microphones to work. So if you listen to it, it's going to sound a little tinny. That's because we literally turned on the computer and then just talked to each other, and the only audio is being picked up from the actual audio on the computer. So they did a good job, our podcast company, of cleaning it up, but it does sound like we're sort of in the background, a little tinny. 100% my fault. Turns out you have to plug this stuff in to make it work, which is really weird.
Yeah, it's the first thing. I mean, in our defense, we have been really busy.
Yeah, I just ran in here and started talking.
It's been a while I think that was right in the middle of training, wasn't it?
It was. Right. It was a rushed event. I had a topic in mind, but the topic last week was why the fitness business is a great business to get into. And we talked about the investment, the subscription-based income, or return on investment, subscription-based income, and the altruistic reasons of helping people. But this week, I would like to talk about the things that make Alloy unique. And it's obviously self-serving, but I think it's worth talking about because there's a whole list of things that we do, especially at our stage of franchising, that other franchises, fitness or not, just don't do.
Yeah.
And I think it would be worth listing those. And then if anybody is in the pipeline as a candidate for Alloy, this would be a good one to listen to. If not, if you're just in the industry overall, maybe this will just give you some ideas on things to put in your business. But I think these are things that, from where I sit, set us apart. And it's not going to be things that aren't tangible. These are going to be concrete things that I know that we do differently than every other franchise.
Yeah, cool.
So let's start with, first of all, we have what we call a PEO, and I think it's a, it's easy for me to say, Preferred Employment Organization, I believe. And I could be messing that up, but there's so many acronyms. Essentially what it is it's like a large company benefit structure. So think about health benefits, 401k, I mean, you can get dental, you can get optical, you could get pet insurance, life insurance, you name it, a whole litany of benefits that we offer to our franchisees for their own sake. If they're going to be leaving their job, they're going to need something to go search for benefits, but especially to attract good talent. Like you want to go find a good operator, we're going to be able to offer above target market pay. Plus, we're going to be able to say, hey, here's a full suite of benefits right on top of that. And they handle all your payroll and everything. Now, there are companies like this that will saddle up to franchising. It typically doesn't happen until the franchises are pretty mature, but we knew from sitting on all these franchise boards all these years, this is something that people really want. It's a huge perk in allowing people to attract top talent. And the way that it works is essentially it would be like working for a very large company, except that each individual franchisee is underwritten. Their LLC is underwritten as an entity in and of itself, but they get the benefit of the umbrella benefits company. Which is the big company. So it's like bringing large company benefit packages to small business, which is super cool. And I don't think I haven't heard a lot of other franchises talk about it, but it's something that we knew I would want it as a lifelong entrepreneur. It's nice to have a nice benefits package. It's really helped me, selfishly, personally. But additionally, I think it's a really good thing to give somebody that can take to market.
Well, I mean, other franchises, I'm not sure on that one myself, but I know in the fitness space, I mean, nobody's offering any kind of health benefits to anybody for the most part, right? I don't know anyone. No.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone. But imagine then now you're an Alloy franchisee and you go out to recruit an operator. Now you're able to say, we're probably going to be able to pay above market because the profitability of the business can be really good. In addition to the fact that you're going to have a full suite of benefits. And people, that is very, very compelling these days. And it's a full suite. I mean, it's everything you can imagine. Plus the company that we've engaged with, they also do your payroll. They file your state payroll tax. I mean, they take a lot. It's like almost in a way, like a small segmented HR department, if you will, to give you bandwidth, right?
It almost sounds like you'll have like a real job.
Oh, you mean like a real job?
A real job.
Like a real job.
Yeah.
Except like you enjoy it. That's the difference.
Not your part-time gig?
Yeah, not the part-time trainer gig where you bounce from house to house and pay your own taxes if you remember, right? And you have no benefits and stuff. So it's like, I mean, look, we got to come out of the Stone Ages. If we want to grow a big brand, we want quality people in the brand. One way to get quality people is benefits. So we have offered this as a blanket benefits package to all of our franchisees. It's super cool. Nobody else does it.
That's awesome. I know every Discovery Day we obviously talk about this, and everybody in the room is always excited. So it's a huge deal.
Yep, big time. The next one is we help people become entrepreneurs. Now, by default, if you're not already an entrepreneur and you're buying into an Alloy, you are getting the bandwidth of the franchise. So it's like you're doing it alone, right? I think Kim Daly, who's a good friend of mine, she's like one of the top consultant in the Franchise Network, says. Her statement is, be in business for yourself, not by yourself. And I think that's a great way to describe franchising because you get to be your own boss, but you're not totally by yourself.
Sure.
And I know we've had a lot of entrepreneurs that came to the table that are like, listen, I want to do this, but I don't want to be all by myself. Like they want to feel like they're part of something bigger than them. They want to be part of a team, that kind of idea. And it provides that. But one of the things that I enjoy about franchising versus just corporate expansion is the fact that we get to help other people realize their entrepreneurial dreams. And I'm as passionate about that as I am about helping people get healthy in the fitness space, right? One of the tools that we use for that is something called EOS. Now, if anybody listening's ever read the book Traction, it's based on the EOS system, and that stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System. And it's a scaffolding or a framework to build a business on where you have accountability, essentially, is ultimately. It's like everybody has a responsibility in the company. There's a measurable around those responsibilities, and there's accountability to that. And if you hear those things, you might think, oh, wow, that sounds like very structured. But it really is like giving people a clear win in their particular position is a real plus. And people like that ultimately, because if you're measuring what they're doing and paying attention to it, that means you can coach them. And I look at it as like that you're investing in them. Would you agree with that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a great system. It brings in what they call a scorecard. We always know that keeping score is always going to motivate people. We've always looked at having scoreboards in our own business before even this. So yeah, it's a great thing.
Yeah. So we are incorporating it at the corporate level for our team because obviously we're scaling our business and the framework works well for that. But we're also teaching it to franchisees. So we're doing a call once a month for any new investors to jump on because it kind of sets the stage for their hiring process and the culture they need to look for. And then when people come to live training, they now have their operator with them because that person has to be somewhat entrepreneurial in spirit, meaning they're going to be the face of this person's business, because most of our franchisees are what we would call semi-absentee. And so it teaches them, and then we're going to have an EOS implementer come out live and teach them how to be entrepreneurial in spirit, because our business model is very simple, which is great, but it's still nice to have a framework where you've got an operator and they're held accountable to a certain number of tasks with a scoreboard. And even your part-time coaches should be as well. And I think that's something I don't see a lot in our industry, or maybe in any industry, is that like, all right, what's the scorecard for the next 90 days for your part-time trainer that works 2 days a week? How is their performance being measured, right? And as you know, what gets measured gets managed. Right. And so I think it's really important to do that. So if you're looking at an alloy and you want to become an entrepreneur, we're going to give you bandwidth and teach you not just how to be an alloy franchisee, but how to be a good entrepreneur. And I think those things are one and the same and different in some ways. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So like, we're going to teach you everything you know to run an alloy, but there's also a mindset and an accountability tool that we're going to teach you that'll really help you just be a better entrepreneur overall.
Yeah. Just keep you sorted out and make sure you help you run your business.
Yeah. Right? I mean, it can't get any better than that.
What it does is it allows, us and them to speak the same language, which is nice.
Yeah. And as a coach, as like our head franchise business coach, I'm sure that's important to you, because the stage has been set for how you're going to coach them, right? Accountability wise.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Cool. And there are maybe 2 franchises in all of franchising that I know that teach people the EOS system. And they're some of the best franchises in the business, like people I really look up to in the space. And it's the only ones I know that are doing it. So like, again, I'm really good about like, okay, what are the best people that I admire in the industry who are doing what I want to be doing? What are they doing? And I'll just do that too, right? I mean, why not? Makes sense?
Yeah.
I mean, we put a spin on it and we do some things that are specific to our industry that they may not do. But like, hey, franchising's franchising. And if there's somebody's doing it really well and they got 10 brands under their banner, it's like, all right, let's have a look at it. When you look at it, it's like, hey, this is pretty cool. Even our EOS implementer, which is, it's regional. So we have a guy that's just in Atlanta, and he went to his whole EOS system, ecosystem, which is all the coaches that are in it, and said, hey, there's very few people that are doing this. This is an amazing service that you're bringing to your franchisees. So again, it's just a huge perk, especially for a young franchise. It's like, this is already in place. Really cool. The next one on my list would be vendors. So I did the math, and the average discount that vendors will apply to an alloy franchisee is around 30%. That's across the board, all vendors, whether they're marketing, equipment, service-based, software. The average discount is 30%. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and they're all top notch in whatever industry they're in, right?
Yeah, we're only choosing the best of the best, and they're offering a discount. And so that's a massive, and I'll give you just a couple of examples of those. So I had on my podcast 2 episodes ago, Jesse Stackhouse from Just Fitness Staffing. So imagine like you're an alloy franchisee, you're going through the real estate process, your permitting comes back, it's time, right? You're going to start getting scheduled for training, and you hear from our team, it's like, now's the time to go hire your director. So you reach out to Jessie, Just Fitness Staffing. She's going to, with our criteria and all the things that we know that make our business and this position so compelling, take that information into your local market. And she only does fitness staffing for the fitness space. So she may just know somebody that's working in a different company right now who she's stayed in touch with, who may be looking for a different change. Right. So not only is she saying, culling through all the applications, of which there would be many, right, and saying, okay, here's the 4 that I think would be good for alloy. She's also saying, hey, I know somebody who lives in your city who's amazing. They work for this other brand right now, but they've reached out to me to see if there's anything open. Do you want me to connect you to them? It's like, heck yeah, right? So that's a vendor who knows our brand really well, who's going to offer you a discount, who has all the scripts written for these particular positions, right? Check. Second, during the interview process, we have another company that's out of Atlanta. They work with Chick-fil-A, Coca-Cola, and what they do is a screening test. So during the interview process, one of the steps is you can send this screening test this individual. It basically is like personality analysis, like right. A lot of the others. But what the cool thing is, then we have spent the time and money to understand exactly the needs of the position that they're applying for, whether it's part-time coach or director. You can overlay that over how they're hardwired, and it will help you eliminate the 20% or so people that just, you might love them, they might be great, but they literally cannot do the job. Right. Let's say it's the director, and we've talked about the gardener versus hunter conundrum, and you need both. So if you get a director and you send them, the best work data, and it shows that they can't sell, like they're scared of any kind of sales, which is basically like friction or hard conversation. Sales is that a lot of times. They're not going to be good at the position, period. And you may love them, and they might be great trainers once. They might be good gardeners, but somebody has to kill them and throw them over the fence, right? Or go catch them, and then they're going to take care of them once they're there. You need somebody who can sell, and I would say that's even more important because there's a time window that's critical for Alloy that's pre-sales. You need a killer, period.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, always. I mean, what this does is it just gives everybody a leg up and the best chance for success, right?
Yep, 100%.
Versus just trying to figure it out on their own.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why you buy a franchise. And so take advantage of all the things we're talking about because they're not usual. They're very valuable. Most franchises aren't doing it, so it's a huge differentiator for us, right? The other one, we've got a guy who will do all of your accounting and do all your bookkeeping. Now, he used to manage a big hedge fund. He's a really good guy. He's really smart, probably way overqualified to do what he does. But he's sort of semi-retired, and his best friend is a friend of mine. They grew up together. This guy owns a big coaching group and runs a gym. He started doing the books for his buddy, and then all of a sudden, it's like through his buddy referring people through his mastermind, he's doing books for all of these gyms, and he puts out a newsletter. It's really specific to the industry. So I think he offers a discount as well, and I think you'd be crazy not to engage with him instead of your local accountant who does all kinds of different businesses. Why not have a guy running your books and getting on monthly coaching calls with you who is a de facto CFO who knows everything he needs to know about the fitness space? And he can compare your business to other like verticals in the fitness space, like, hey, you versus boot camps, here's where you stack up, right? Yep. Really cool things like that. And then for us, he's curating all of our financials for franchisees so we can come up with a leader and scoreboard in different categories. Like, is your labor in check? Is your rents here? Your revenue should be here. And then we can score all of our franchises across a big dashboard. So he knows our brand really well. He's relatively inexpensive. You'd be crazy not to use him instead of your local accountant. Or even if you have a finance background, like, hire this guy, get the bandwidth, right? And so we have that in there, right? Yeah. So that's yet another vendor. And I could go on from equipment to, I mean, you've mentioned a couple, like Ace as an example.
Yeah, we have literally continuing ed stuff for coaches, FMS, Ace, all built in there to, keep, making them better day by day.
Right. And I would just say this, and I think Matt would 100% agree. You still have to take advantage of it, right? I can have a whole bunch of stuff out here available to you, but you've got to go out there and take advantage of it. And so we're giving you a laundry list of stuff that we know is valuable to help you run a fitness business. Got to take advantage of it, right?
Yep.
Again, won't go through all the vendors. The next one we have is what I would call it like our sales hit team, so to speak. So imagine if you do go out and you hire a coach or a trainer, or maybe you have a limited bandwidth, you've got 2 people in a pre-sale and you're the semi-absentee owner and you're like, man, this is a critical time. For 8 weeks or so, we're going to be selling something that's a new concept to market. It doesn't exist yet. It's not open. No one can put their hands on it, right? So I need someone who can really sell, because selling over the phone for something that doesn't yet exist and getting a yes, right, it's not impossible, but it's not the easiest sale in the world.
Sure.
It's way more difficult than sitting down with someone face to face, which is what a day in the life of will look like with the director of your club down the road. But in this 8-week pre-sale on the phone, it's a critical time. And to get out of the gate, we're going to make you open with 75 paying members anyway. And so why not, for us, hire a hit team internally that you can choose to take advantage of, almost as a vendor type of situation. And they will go in and beat the phones up on your behalf and communicate with your director and keep them organized. It's also, I would say, not only is it going to increase your closing percentage of pre-sale leads, which is really important during this time, but also gives you bandwidth. So then your director can go out and do the community outreach and all the grassroots marketing that we want them to be doing. I think what we found is the digital leads have been very effective, but when you're getting a whole lot of digital leads, it kind of kills your motivation to go out and do all the blocking and tackling in your community, right? Because why would you do that? Would you just sit in your office, right? I don't have time. I've got too many leads. Good problem to have, but we'd like to see a 2-pronged approach. And so let us give you that bandwidth. It's relatively inexpensive to hire our hit team. Obviously, we know the brand. It doesn't matter what market you're in. We can sell to your market. And so far, so good. So we've done it with some others, and it's worked out really well. So it's game on now. So we're going to offer you bandwidth for your pre-sale by having an internal hit team for sales. Honestly, even down the road, if you're like, hey, my directors they're doing a lot of training. This is what they're choosing to do. We need 10 more members in the gym this next month because we haven't run any marketing for a couple months. Can we hire your hit team later down the road? You could actually choose to do that. And we've had people that have done that just to get them over that little bump, right? So you could do that as well. So sales hit team. I don't know any franchise who's selling on behalf of their franchisees that I've heard of. Certainly not in fitness.
No.
I mean, geez Louise, like, I mean, we're running really close, you guys, to almost running your business. And we're cognizant of the fact that we shouldn't and can't do that. But listen to the litany of bandwidth that we're giving you. Big benefits, teach you how to be an entrepreneur with a system, right? Give you all these discounts, give you vendors that basically it would be as if we're running those ads in some ways for you. And then we'll also, run your pre-sale from the corporate office should you choose to take advantage of it. It's like,
Again, it's all there built for give you the best chance for success.
Period. That's it. Anytime we saw something that was a sticking point or a little bit of friction, it's like, well, let's see if we can create a solution for that, right? Yeah. And that was from our time, me sitting on other franchise boards. So we started that from the start, and then just in our like year and a half, 2 years of experience, like, okay, here's some things that we could really add to the offering, if you will. And then lastly, it's like our 31 years in business. That's very unique for a franchise. Most franchises, they'll get some VC money, they'll open a corporate location, they'll prove out in maybe one market that it works, right? Maybe they do another corporate location in a similar market, and they're doing pretty well, and they immediately go to franchising. I'm not saying that won't work. There are some franchises that have been successful doing that. If I was buying a franchise, though, especially in the fitness space, which can be really trendy, I would want to know that I was buying it from someone who had been working with 2,000 gyms worldwide, who had 31 years of experience in this exact business, right? Because I know I have at least a 10-year relationship with this person, and I want to know that what I'm buying isn't a flash in the pan that just started 2 years ago, and yeah, it's hot now. Like I'm doing cold plunges and infrared saunas. That's awesome. But like if that trend goes away, I'm sitting on a business model that by default does cold plunge. And it's hard to pivot away from that when the whole thing just does that, right? And I'm not throwing shade at that. That may be here to stay. I'm just saying if you look at personal training and specific to us, 31 years of the same brand promise on the front door hasn't changed a bit. We've evolved how we service it, the tools, the technology, the science behind the programming, all that stuff has evolved and it will continue to do so. Doesn't change the brand promise.
Yeah, stand the test of time, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, geez, if anything, I've done that, right? Gandalf of fitness over here, still hanging in there.
Rick the Gray.
Right. That from now on, I will be referred to as Rick the Gray. And then the customer avatar that we service is also, I think, a unique proposition for us, especially in fitness. Like we don't go real old, and that's not bad either. I don't think that's not a bad market, like 65 plus. But when you look at 45 to 65, still young, still relevant, still feel really good. A players, our main customer avatar is a mover and a shaker. So think about a very successful person, an A player in this age category. Not a lot of fitness brands are targeting that right now. I'm sure they're coming. We'll get a Pepsi to our Coke, but it'll be too late. We'll be too deep in the markets, all those markets by then. So I think that's all I had. Did you have anything on your list that I missed?
No, I mean, other than maybe some of the brand, like, we have Causley. You can just be a part of all the givebacks, stuff.
Geez, I can't believe I missed my favorite thing. Thank you.
But yeah, tell us more.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think the idea is that businesses that do good. And when you look at Alloy, like we have a giving structure. So a percentage of our revenue goes to charity every month. And the bigger we get, the more money we give to charity. The great thing about being an Alloy franchisee is that you, by default, get to be part of that. And so we partnered with a company a few years ago called Causley, and they used to do a marketing program that we were participating in where it would be your customers would check in on Facebook, and for that check-in, it would trigger a giving event for the business. And so the more check-ins you got, the more you would give, and it motivated the customers to check in because they knew it made you give. And then also, obviously, organically, when someone checks in at your business, if they're working out here, everyone in their community is seeing it. So it's good for referrals and that type of thing. That being said, what they do a really good job of, I thought, was they would take a charity, like let's just say bowls of dog food for dogs in shelters. Mm-hmm. And they don't put a dollar amount on it. But they do put a tangible number on it. And so instead of at the end of the month, something like, hey, Alloy gave away $20,000 to charity, it would say something like Alloy gave away 30,000 bowls of dog food to dogs in shelters. And you get the results of that as a marketing piece. It's always really cool. It's branded to Alloy, and it will either be like a JPEG or something you could put it on your social media. We print the posters and put them in our facility, and our franchisees get those by default. They don't have to actually physically or financially participate in that. They're getting it by default. If they want to find a local charity, obviously as part of our DNA, I'm all for it. Yep. But just keep in mind, even if you just are an Alloy franchisee, by default, you're doing good in the world, and you're going to get the benefits and the air quoting marketing, because it kind of feels gross to market charity, but this is a good way to do it. That's what Causley does well. you're going to get to do that by default. So yeah, I can't believe I forgot that. I always say that's my favorite part of the business, but I wasn't thinking of that through pluses for franchisees, but I think it's a huge plus.
No, absolutely.
Anything else I missed, Matt?
No, I think you got everything else. You nailed it.
All right, brother. Well, listen, I hope that helps you guys. I know it was self-serving and braggadocious, but hey, look, I think I'm super proud of what we put together. I promise you, we've looked hard and wide at like the different things that are offered in franchising. I guarantee you nobody's put all this stuff together for franchisees. So
it's awesome.
come on, come be with Alloy. If we like you and we allow it, then we'll let you buy, we'll award you an Alloy franchise, locations, if you will. And if so, you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff to help you be a good business owner.
Hell yeah.
All right, peace.
See you in the new year.